Really? My ring was stuck, so I ended up hammering the crap out of my pick just to get this loose. The instruction says you should be able to just push it, but I wasn't so lucky. The instructions say to use piano wire, so I don't have that, but I do have welding wire, which is what I read some other people used to fish this thing out. So I'm gonna try that. Thing is not budging. Oh, God! Of course. There. Ugh, jeez. Whoops. Spilled fluid everywhere. Ooh, grody. Why does it keep doing that? Oh, it's because these are piece of crap $4 snap ring pliers I got at the store because I can't buy the actual good tools. That's why. Look at that. There. See, that's what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to just, you know, do this. Woohoo! Yay! But, yeah, no, not this time. Man. Is it just me just being incompetent, or is this really freaking hard to get out? I wasn't recording. For some reason I forgot to press the big red button on the camera, but yeah, just remember how hard it was for me to get the other one out on the bottom over here. Same thing here. I had to use this snap ring plier, and I had to use this snap ring plier because this, whatever this is, didn't do the trick. Now the next step is to press the shaft out, what is this called? Press out the pinion shaft. But I don't have a press, so I'm just going to hope that this works. Only. Ooh, actually, this is working. Haha! Look at that! Cool. Would have thought a wood clamp would save the day. I don't think it's supposed to be hard to pull this out. Hold on. I'm just supposed to keep doing that. I'm probably breaking something and I just don't realize it. It doesn't say ramrod it out of the rack. It just says to withdraw it. So I'm kind of scared. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. You get to be the first to see me ruin a rack on video. And then have to buy a new one, even though I'm trying to rebuild it. There. Whew. This is the side with the ring that I was having so much trouble getting out. This is the side I pulled it out from. So, wavy washer. The instruction says it's a wave washer, so this is supposed to look like this. And the bush. Is that right? The wave spring washer and the bush. So this is the bush. Bushing maybe? Put all those marks in there. Especially that big one right there. Yeah, that was my fault. I should have stopped to see why this didn't want to come out. And oh yeah, you can see right there. There was something there. And it just kept dragging it, and now I have a big gouge. So yeah, it's really hard to show this on camera, but that right there that I'm pointing at, that there's a seal in there, and you have to find something long and just bash it out from the end. Hope I didn't need this dowel for anything, because it is ruined. I ended up breaking the seal. There's still a chunk in there I can't get out. And this is what I could get out. And see that green in there? And the black around the green? That's the seal that's in there that I just broke. And what I was using was a 21mm socket, which was a nice fit. And it's supposed to push it through, and 22mm is too big, and it gets stuck in there. So yeah, this is a major roadblock. I found a new instrument. I can just barely see the edge of the seal through this fitting here. I'm poking at it, hoping that maybe I can whittle away at it. I don't know what else to do. I managed to break off that, you can't really see what I'm pointing at, but that little piece that's kind of sticking up. That one right there. That's the other, I'm guessing, Teflon seal. I managed to break it, and I'm just trying to fish out all the pieces. It's really hard to film if you hadn't noticed. I just found a great example of what I'm struggling with. This is the new one. This is the seal that I'm trying to get out. That's right in here. And I managed to break the plastic seal on the back of it and rip out this inner piece that has the spring in it. But it's this outer edge that's what's currently stuck in there. And I'm kind of running out of ideas on how to get it out. But that's what it's looking like so far. See, here's the green one that I'm mangling just to get out. Here's the inner piece that I blasted out with the socket and hammer. It's just this outer piece that I can't get out. Alright, I'm back. I had an idea. I'm gonna try it. I took my long pick and I tried to give a little bit of a hook on the end because it was just going straight up and down. I just took that torch I bought, that blue one that I showed in my update video, and I just heated it up, hammered it. Let's see if this is gonna work. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna try heating up the rack again, where the seal is, and hopefully I get it nice and hot and squishy. Because I'll admit last time I didn't leave the heat on for very long, so I'm going to leave it on there for very long this time. Smells like success. Oh! Oh my god! No way! That actually worked! Oh! And I was recording! Wow! Oh my god! Oh, my battery's about to die too. Oh wow, that was so lucky. There it is. This is what was stuck in there. Looks like I had the right ideas. I just wasn't implementing them correctly. That's the bore that the seal was in. It's a little dirty. I'm gonna try to put a paper towel in there or something, clean that off. Now the next step is to punch out this bearing, and mine is a little gritty, but I've heard of people having trouble finding this bearing for sale, and I really don't want to punch it out because mine still seems okay, but I'm gonna try to do it anyway because I'm sure somebody's gonna have that problem. But I do want to mention, to punch it out, you never want to smack the inside race right here. You want to hit it on the outer edge. The problem is this bore that it's in, you can't exactly hit the outer ring on the bearing, so I'm gonna have to hit the inner ring, and hopefully we're not gonna witness bearing pieces flying all over the workbench in a minute here. A 1/2 inch extension lands right onto where the ball bearings are, so I'm going to use the box end and hope that I don't ruin anything. Still works. Probably not the best camera angle. It's kind of hard to film. But that's what I was hammering on. Just down in here, if you follow this ridge, and what I'm guessing is a bushing. Oh yeah, it is a bushing. Oh, there we go. Well, and what I was trying to say, this, which the manual calls a bush, it sits like this in the shaft, and I was cramming this pick in this little gap here, and then hammering the pick, this bonk, and the seal popped out, and I guess this is made out of plastic, which I thought it was broken, but maybe it's not? Okay, believe it or not, because I still don't, that was the last instruction on disassembly, was getting this seal and bushing out of the pinion housing, I guess it's called. And now it says the next is to assemble. So I'm going to take some time cleaning up some of these bores and these areas, because there's still some grease and fluid in there. Get it nice and clean for reassembly. Hold on a second. Okay, I kinda ran into a problem here. This is the new seal. This is the old seal that was in this spot. And it's really hard to tell. But this new seal is a little bit smaller than the old one. Like when I toss it in here, just kind of, you can see it moving around in there, and I'm supposed to be able to put this in there and be a nice tight fit. I put the old one back in, like it's wedged in there. If I hammer this in, this is gonna be a nice tight fit. So yeah, that kind of sucks. I might have to use the old seal, which it looks okay. I didn't ruin this one, but yeah, in my situation, I'm gonna have to do this. The spring side of the seal goes up. So from this end where the steering shaft goes into, the spring faces this way. I'm going to use a 24mm socket to try to get this nice and straight. The manual says to use a 19mm socket to hammer this one in. I hammered the bearing into here until I could see this groove right here. That's where the snap ring sits. Time for my old arch nemesis, the snap ring pliers. Okay, this next step I'm not very excited about doing. I can't avoid it any longer. And that is to get this inner seal, my other arch nemesis, onto this rack up to here. And it says to use a press and stand the rack upright with the seal on here. Press the rack in and it'll seat the seal. So let's see how I can do without a press. Okay, it says there's a special tool, what a surprise, to get this onto here without damaging the seal on these teeth. Did you know I don't have that special tool? Wow! So I have to get this all the way over here. Dunk it in power steering fluid. Get this thing as clean as I can. Am I doing this right? Because it has to go... Wait. Okay, so it has to go on like this. Okay, so what I did, I sprayed all this in WD-40, which you saw. I sprayed the seal in WD-40, and I got it over this first little ridge here. This part took a lot of massaging, and as soon as I got over that, I was twisting the seal like I was screwing it on, just kind of hoping that by twisting it, I won't be gashing the same corner, the same part of the seal on these sharp edges of teeth, and just poking a hole and by kind of distributing the jagged edges, hoping that maybe the seal won't break or anything. And it looks okay. It still feels reasonably tight. Okay, one thing I have not seen in the instruction manual is this Teflon seal right here. It doesn't say anything about replacing it, and the new kit comes with one, or it comes with two actually. And I have these two that I'm not exactly sure which one goes where, but they're the same size. I'm guessing it goes here. Yeah, there's an O-ring in here. Look at that. Dip the new ring in some power steering sauce. Now the next is this Teflon seal, and I'm quite nervous about these, which luckily the old one took some doing before I broke it, just to see what these will do. I've never messed with Teflon seals before. This is the first time. I had to do some research on this one because I did not want to be blasting seals left and right, and I don't even know where to get these. And a video I saw did this to stretch the seal over a funnel, and after stretching it on the funnel, you'd use a hose clamp, tighten it down, which I found these at AutoZone with this little sweet handle right here. I think this is going to be key right here. But yeah, this goes over the seal when it's in place, and you can tighten this down and it'll reshape the seal to fit. That's the thing with these Teflon seals, is they're sort of resizable. They feel brittle, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Now, I wasn't really sure what seal goes where. I'm just gonna hopefully not get impatient and ramrod this thing on here and then stretch it too far or break it. I am impatient. Haha, there we go. It's got some give to it. It's kind of has a little bit of stretch. Now I just gotta squeeze it back down because you can see it sticks up a little bit. That's where the hose clamp comes in. I'm gonna put some like electrical tape or something in here to protect it. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, it definitely shrunk. I'm having to turn it because this part of the clamp is kind of straight. It's not curved like the adjustment side. So I'm just tightening it here, loosening it, tightening it here, loosening it, tightening it, and just going around it. Yeah, by the way, this one with the handle, totally worth the purchase. Just imagine doing this with a screwdriver. It's pretty good. Oh. Ooh, nice tight fit. I'm gonna say that's good enough. So the next step that I'm on, that I'm also very nervous about, is cramming this into the rack and then pressing the seal into its hole. Maybe I'll get lucky and I can just pull it. Not that strong. Oh yeah, look at that. So what I did there is, this is a 1-inch, what do you call these? Hole drill bit. And I have my little stepping stool I made out of scrap wood a long time ago. And I figured, why not? Just blast a hole through it and hold the rack up. And then I'm going to use this non-metric socket, which I don't mind mangling because it's not metric, 9/16, which fits very nicely on the edge of the shaft. And the threads hold it in place. So it's sort of centered. And then I'm just going to whack it with a hammer and see if it drives the seal in. Oh, that was easy. There it is, the new seal, ready to be broken by the next poor schmuck who rebuilds this rack. Hopefully it won't be me. Oh yeah, by the way, if you do this, don't take the shaft out to see if the seal is in, because I just totally forgot how hard it was to get that seal over these teeth, and now I get to do it with the seal in there. Please, please, please do not do the stupid things that I do. This is going to not be fun. Ooh, look at, listen to that airflow. That new seal, it's teflon seal and the rubber seal. Next step is replacing this seal, which is actually in the instructions. Hopefully this will be a little bit easier to get out. Oh yeah. It's like weird clear ring in here. Which in the kit also has one with the weird transparent ring. That's how I know that this one went in here. I don't have a socket that fits on the very edge. So I'm just gonna lightly tap on this. Okay, I'm having trouble getting this seal in because I don't have a socket that fits on the outer edge. See, it's not exactly flush with the surface, but I found something that'll help. There. This is a cap to a can of brake clean. If I don't blast it to shreds with the hammer, this should work. And this side right here is all the way in, like catch that edge, but this side is not quite all the way in. I have broken it a little bit. Fear not. No self-respecting DIYer will not have tons of cans of this stuff laying around. There we go. Look at that. You can see nice sunken edge all the way around. So the brake clean cap, very useful. Oh, by the way, getting that seal on, me having all that trouble, there's actually a special tool for just for getting that seal on. So that was the bush and the spring washer, the wavy washer, the outer seal, I guess it's called. Put a little bit of power steering fluid on the seal. There we go. So this next step of getting this end requires another special tool. Whoa, I didn't see that coming. It's basically a big pipe looking thing, and I'm just going to use this big socket I just have. Just making sure I'm hammering it in all the way, because you remember this, the ring. Oh, that oh so fun ring that I took out in the first part. And there's a groove in here for that ring, and there's that little hole that this thing has for you to reach. Oh yeah, there's my pick. But you can kind of see the ring groove in there, and that's what I wanted to make sure was visible. And the last step, when I said there was a special tool for getting that in, what the instructions actually meant was for this. It's a big pipe thing that fits this diameter. When you shove this in, it pushes it into its slot. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to do that without it, much like this whole project. I'm gonna try to get this end of the ring in line with that hole right here, just so whoever does this next, or if I have to do this next, this part will actually be possible. Is it in there? Doesn't look like it. It's really hard to get it to focus, but you can kind of... There, you can see the groove in the end of the ring. It's just next to it. So I gotta punch it a little bit harder, or find something to press that wavy washer down so that it can fit into the groove. Wait, did that go in? No way, did that actually go in? Holy crap. So what I ended up doing is using this big 30mm socket, putting it right on top of the seal retainer, and then hooking this giant clamp on here, and just kind of trying to keep it centered while keeping the clamp centered on the socket. And I was just kind of holding it, cranking it down. It took a couple tries, but if I could get this tightened down, and it was hard to turn, but the clamp wasn't moving, I just went in there with the screwdriver, hammered on the little ring, and I guess I pushed it down just enough, because a few taps and the ring went inside its groove, no problem. Alright, next up is going to be replacing the seals on the valve. This doesn't look too difficult. Oh, it's got a bearing in there, look at that. I'm only gonna just take these off just because of that. I'm not gonna bother removing this clip or any of this. I'm just gonna replace these orange seals and then re-grease this when it goes back on. These Teflon seals are surprisingly resilient. They really hold their shape once you give them a bend or something. It's really interesting. Okay, let's see if I can get away with not stretching them on the old seal stretcher funnel. Nah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, these seals are not as fragile as I thought they would be, which is kind of nice because I'm having to manhandle them to get them over some of these ridges. Oh, get off that ring. Oh, yes. Hey, look at that comparison. Comparison between the non-squashed rings versus the squashed ones. It's quite a sizable difference. The new Teflon seals are in and resized, and I'm pretty happy with that. By the way, if you do replace the Teflon seals, and you use the hose clamp method, see if you can find one with this little hand turner. This was a delight. I'm so glad I found this at the store and I got it, because it was super useful to just do this by hand rather than getting a screwdriver or a socket on there. This made this job a lot quicker. This next step is a little bit confusing. Put the pinion gear in, but have this groove right here where the steering shaft goes onto. They want it to be, it's set in the 9 o'clock position, but it's saying to put it in where this is on the side, and then turn it so that when it's upright, the steering rack will be centered. So this might take some tries. This is the third attempt. There we go. And the seal. It's still not centered. I'll be back when I get this, but this is what the instructions say to do, is to put this shaft in, have this notch be on the left, and then once it's in all the way, then you rotate it to be center. And the way I'm telling it center is this part of the steering rack should be the same length as this, and this one is, I don't know, about 2.5 inches, and this one's about 2, so I'm pretty close. But the camera's in my way, so I'm gonna do this off camera, but you're gonna miss nothing because you already see what I'm doing. Okay, after one too many attempts, I got it as close as I could get it. I measured both sides before putting the pinion shaft in. Both sides are about 2 1/16 about, and this is as close as I can get it. It's not perfect per the instructions, but it's as good as I can get it, and I'm tired of pulling this thing in and out. I'm afraid I'm going to ruin the Teflon seals if I keep doing that, so I'm just going to leave it like this. It's not perfect per the instructions, but I figured that, what, 1/4 inch of play that I couldn't get, I'll just adjust it with the tie rods when I get it back in the car, and when I get it aligned, it'll be perfect. So yeah, good enough. Oh yeah, one more thing. I guess a special tool is what drives the seal in, and of course I don't have it, so I just used a big deep socket. Just put it on the end of here, the biggest deep socket I had that would fit on the edge of the seals, and I just hammered it in. Okay, next step is torquing the nut on the end of the pinion to 22 to 33 foot-pounds, all while holding the shafts. I am going to torque mine to 25 foot-pounds. The nut has this kind of fillet on the top, but the bottom is flat, so the curved edge goes on top. Okay, now we're going to fit this little dust cover onto the end here, and this 30mm socket again is actually a perfect fit on the little edge of this dust cover. Nice. Next step is going to be what they call the damper yoke, and I have my strawberry jelly grease. It says to grease up the damper yoke. Put that in, followed by the spring, adjusting screw, adjusting screw home, so I'm guessing it means tighten it down all the way. And then back off the screw to 40 to 60 degrees. So let's see. About right there. And then it says to tighten this lock ring to 44 to 66 foot-pounds. If you remember earlier, I don't have a socket for this, so I'm just going to use my manual torque wrench. Maybe I'll edit in a sound of a clicking torque wrench just so you get the feel. It seems like it's been an age since we've gotten to this point. The inner tie rods are going back on. Just gonna clean off these little plastic retainers. They go on first. So the sheet metal around here has to be peened, hammered back in against the flat part of the steering rack here. So you can see this is the mark from the old peening, hammered on to hold itself onto the rack. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing. Okay, so hammering it wasn't really working, but this is working. Just using my vise. Look at that. That's a nice fold. It's, well, it's not pretty, but it's definitely folded over. And it's gonna make it impossible for this to back off on its own. I'm just gonna do the same thing for the other side. If you do it this way, the rack is a lot heavier now that all the parts are back in it. I just remember to put this in correctly, because when this goes threaded on, it's gonna pop onto here. So just make sure you don't put it in this way, or then you're kind of stuck and you have to take it off. A little bit more. It's ugly, but it's definitely peened. Like, that's not going to come off without a lot of force. Oh, this thing's heavy. Yeah, I'll call that good enough. And I shouldn't, because if these things come off while I'm driving, that's really bad. But I'm quite fairly confident. Let's call it good. Alright, the last step. Well, I mean, not the actual last step of this whole process, but the last step of the manual. That is putting the gaiters, they call it, but the steering rack boots back on. I bought a new one because I had one new one, might as well replace the other one. Now I just gotta remember which way that little pipe went on, because I honestly can't remember. This is the thing I'm mumbling about, this little pipe that goes into the hole of the boot and that connects them, which this thing, all this does is transfers air in between them. This is not supposed to transfer fluid like mine was before the rebuild, because when these compress and decompress, there's air moving through this because it's a nice rubber seal, and this is just a breather basically. If I can only remember where it was positioned on here. I honestly don't remember. It's been that long. And the rebuild kit came with new clamps for the boots. Alright, so this is where I'm kind of having to go on my own. There's not really any instruction on this, but that little black thing right there is a sealing ring. One on both, well, there's supposed to be one on both sides. And the rebuild kit did come with these little plastic rings, and I'm assuming that's what these are for. But I'm going to be replacing mine, and luckily these only go on one spot, because I don't remember which one these went on. But luckily you can't really mess it up. I can't put it on this one because, well, it doesn't fit. I can't put it in this one because it still doesn't fit. It only goes in one spot, so that's pretty handy. Oh, this one had seals on both sides. Wonder why that other one didn't. And yes, I did look inside here, making sure it wasn't already in there from the last time that these were on, and I didn't see anything in there. Oh yeah, I almost forgot my high quality rubber boot replacement. It comes with its own zip ties. And before you say anything, this was the only option on Rock Auto, which is where I get most of my parts because I'm cheap. And I mean, honestly, where else are you going to find these anyway? And the last touch, the little dust cap to get the most annoying locking ring in the world out. And look, it's fully reassembled. New seals, new boots, and it's sort of clean. This is it. It's fully rebuilt. Isn't that great? We did it after so long. It's finally done. Thank you for being so patient with me, but I cannot forget this. This was the cause of all of our grief. This seal. But that doesn't matter now. It's all done. Oh, actually, I lied. I forgot something. I forgot to put this back on. Oh, don't do this. Come on. There. Now it's done.